It's it's time. It's time. It's time for me, Barry, to talk about a fight that would never happen in the real world, but it's kind of just interesting. Okay, Francis Ngannou, the heavyweight UFC champion of the world, has held the record for the hardest hitting punch in the world versus objectively the coolest character in the Naruto franchise, Sasuke Uchiha. Now, you may be thinking, Barry, what are you talking about? This is a character that isn't bound by Earth's physics or anything like that versus an Earthling. And yeah, you are right. But there's a lot more to this than just putting six-pass Sasuke up against a UFC fighter. There are many younger versions of Sasuke that are somewhat interesting, but this is also a video to just show how insane anime characters are, because as we'll see later in this video, Sasuke is OP. Like, he's OP from the beginning. But anyway, like I said, Francis Ngannou has held the record for hardest punch in the world, equivalent of 96 horsepower, which is probably around what your disappointment of a car has under the hood. Now, to put this in even more perspective, like the average amateur boxer has around a punching force of 2,500 newtons. Francis Ngannou has a punching force of over 70,000 newtons. Now, this shows why he's been able to just absolutely demolish people in even the heavyweight division, just lifting 240-pound dudes off of their feet with one punch. One Ford Escort powered punch, that is. But honestly, that starts to seem like somewhat of child's play when you get into the world of anime, especially when you get into the world of Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke, even from the bell test, has a fire jutsu equivalent to over 90 pounds of TNT, which no human being is doing without some sort of tool. So it looks like we're gonna have to start with a super young version of Sasuke. So obviously anything after that, not even worth talking about. But I don't want to get too caught up in the numbers of it all. I feel like too many people are too focused on the pixels and the calcs and all this instead of what's actually implied by the series. But even the series implies Sasuke is just OP. Like, if you took Francis Ngannou and put him up against the Naruto from the bell test, Naruto's getting destroyed. He's getting demolished. Put him up against the Sakura from the bell test, she's getting destroyed. Sasuke, not the same story. The oldest version of Sasuke that I think is even really worth talking about is pre-Academy Sasuke, and even that I think is a stretch. He learned the Fireball Jutsu and many others at a crazy young age, so finding versions of him that aren't ridiculously strong is super difficult. And once again, like my video earlier of Israel Adesanya versus Rock Lee, we fall into this spot of, if you take the Sasuke before he learned Fireball Jutsu, he's getting destroyed. He has nothing really. But after the Fireball Jutsu, he destroys Francis Ngannou. Like, there's not much negotiating around any of that. The only real way I could see Francis Ngannou winning is if you sort of underplay and undermine Sasuke's speed, which is absolutely ridiculous, as this series always shows. Sasuke is always faster than Naruto and Sasuke whenever they're in any sort of mission. But if you were to say that he has somewhat normal speed and that Francis Ngannou could sort of dodge a Fireball Jutsu, then maybe I could see a way for him to win, but I think that is a complete stretch and is just not true. So yeah, it's sort of just how it works. It's implied in this series. I mean, Sasuke makes literal craters with it, and while knocking a heavyweight unconscious with one punch is impressive, and Francis Ngannou has done it many times, it is not making a crater in the ground with fire that comes out of your mouth. Like, they're on different levels. So to answer the question, could Francis Ngannou beat Sasuke Uchiha? The answer is absolutely not, unless you bring fetus Sasuke into the question, which would be a pretty good fight. And making this video sort of made me realize I need to give the humans in these fights a bit of an edge. So in this next video, I think I'm going to do something like the US military versus Sasuke, which I think is actually somewhat interesting, as stupid as it sounds. Like, Sasuke, adult Sasuke, I think off the top of my head would beat the US military, but I don't know. So let me know if you guys are interested in something like that. I'm definitely interested in making that video, so yeah. Francis Ngannou beats Sasuke before he learns any jutsu. After that, he loses. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.